Hey, everybody. Welcome to the monthly Zoom sponsored by United Consulting. And we have a treat for you today. And we're live streaming on YouTube and on Twitter and lots of other places. And folks will watch this, in the coming days and weeks. But it is wonderful to have a very power-packed panel today. We've got the Gwinnett chairwoman, Chairwoman Nicole Love Hendrickson. How's it going, Chairwoman?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me, Tim.
And Dr. Ramona Jackson Jones. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Tim, for inviting me.
And Lisa Cupid's going to come in. She's got a meeting this morning at the commission, but she and I go back a long way. And so she'll be on with us. So we're going to learn a lot about y'all personally, because y'all have got a lot to share because of just your diverse past. And I want to start with you, Dr. Jackson Jones. I mean, you were in the Army, you married a Marine, you worked in the Navy, and that military background, you have 40 years in healthcare. That military background that you had, and I have a son in the Coast Guard. I wasn't in the military, but how did all of that military and all the things that we know and respect about the military, about discipline, about order, about following orders, and how has that impacted you as a leader?
Well, thank you so much, Tim, for asking the question. Great question. My father was actually a paratrooper for the United States Army. He was a Korean War paratrooper. So I just would like to say discipline is in the DNA. I was taught early from a very young age that you do the right thing regardless of who's looking or watching. Certainly, my military background has played into my discipline, and also my former husband was a Marine. So I'm right that you're right about it. It was a lot of pressure, power. I was surrounded by discipline. So my life has just been fulfilled with discipline. So that's my response. It's been a great run. 40 years in healthcare certainly positioned me. I work with surgeons. My background is surgery as well in the community. So everything requires discipline. I would just say in a nutshell, it's in my DNA.
And Chairwoman Hendrickson, you and I share our UGA DNA, both from the School of Social Work. And you were working for the county before you got elected, and that is highly unusual. Usually politicians out there, people that run for office, sometimes they don't have any experience with the entity that they work with. You've had all of that experience, working with outreach, and then with those couple of agencies in Gwinnett County. I mean, I feel like you know that county so well.
Yes, I do, Tim. Prior to my running for office, I actually served 5 years as the community relations director for the county. And actually, I was appointed by my predecessor, the former chairman of the county, Charlotte Nash, and worked under her leadership for 5 years, specifically focused on building bridges with our underserved and underrepresented communities. And so I've built a lot of relationships and built up a lot of trust in a lot of communities of color, in our business community, our nonprofit community, our faith-based community. 5 years, I've spent a lot of time intensely working to build up those bridges in those various communities. And even prior to that, I served as the associate director of the Gwinnett Coalition for Health and Human Services, and it was a nonprofit umbrella organization focused on addressing the poverty and the systemic issues that the county was facing at the time. And I served in that role for 8 years before even coming over to county government. So I have an expansive knowledge, inner working knowledge of the county. I have built up the relationships. I've built up the trust. People know me. They know what I'm about. They know that I have no hidden agendas other than to serve the people. And that has worked for me.
Yeah. Dr. Jackson Jones, the transition to politics. I mean, I've been for 11 years, and I went from youth work to working with old people right here at the commission. And that freaked me out because I was used to enthusiasm. I worked in a youth ministry. I entertained kids. I had fun. And I got here with all that energy, and people looked at me like, what are you doing? Grow up. And so for you coming, you've got 3 earned degrees. You had the time in the military. You worked in healthcare. Was it difficult moving to politics, which doesn't seem as significant as some of the things that you've given the best of your life to?
That's a good question. Thank you so much. I believe that it was an easy transition for me because life is nothing but politics. It's the ability to survive. I would like to say that my father, again, I speak of him often, was a bedside politician. So I learned from, again, an early age, number one, how to play the game, and then I played to win. Douglas County definitely has been an anchor for my political experience. I had an opportunity. I worked in several campaigns prior to becoming elected, and also was a campaign manager for some state senate races here in the state of Georgia. So I love politics, but at the same time, politics loves me because I'm a person that believes in getting things done. I often say, Tim, that I won't be remembered for what I said. I'll be remembered for what I've done.
Wow. We're having some folks tell us we're getting a little feedback from you, Dr. Jackson Jones. So while I'm asking Chairwoman Hendrickson the next question, if you happen to have some not earplugs, but headphones, or not headphones, but something to stop that audio, that would be helpful, I think. Let me go to you, Chairwoman Hendrickson, as we think about my mentioning about working with high school kids. You moved from Baltimore to Gwinnett and into a coalition, kind of developing a strategic plan for children and families. Let me ask you, what's the biggest difference, if any, in that kind of work that you saw in Baltimore versus Gwinnett County?
Well, the work I did in Baltimore, I was a crisis counselor working in the inner city in Baltimore in a Title I school with students that were severely and emotionally, that had severe and emotional behavior issues. And so I spent a lot of time just managing and being in crisis mode all the time, and working to identify resources for the students that were going back into their environments, which did not help when they were coming back to school, when they were coming to school hungry, when they were coming to school unclothed, when they were coming to school with just a myriad of challenges and problems. It disrupted their learning environment. And so I worked a great deal of my time was outside of the school, trying to lobby for resources in the surrounding neighborhood. And it was that I realized that my passion was beyond just counseling. It was more addressing systemic issues in a community. And so it led me to want to go back to school for social work and focus on more of a macro level practice to address systemic issues from a policy, from a community, from a macro level standpoint. And when I came to Gwinnett I went to school at the University of Georgia. That's what drew me down to Georgia, and did an internship at a nonprofit in Gwinnett County. And the internship that I worked at really essentially addressed all of those issues: poverty, food insecurity, homelessness, housing, education inequalities. And so I spent a great deal of time addressing those issues. So a lot of the skill sets from my time working with one-on-one individuals has really built up my capacity and experience and knowledge on how to address community level change and promote community level change. And so it was a very linear transition from the school system to community-based and even into government.
Yeah, I think about both of your rich backgrounds in the sense of experience in the community, with you, Chairman Hendrickson, and Dr. Jones with the military and the healthcare. And I know you worked with the Navy with environmental issues, and I live in the world of energy and environment here and I'm coming to you from the Public Service Commission here at the Capitol. What about that experience with the Navy, Dr. Jackson Jones, have you kind of transferred over to your work in Douglas County and working with energy and environment there?
Thank you, Tim, again. Certainly the environment in which we live is a major determinant of our health and well-being. There are so many exposures in the environment and the atmosphere that the general public is very oblivious to. And being in this position allows me to safeguard Douglas County in a manner with regard to a lot of air quality issues that are related not only to just emissions control, but asbestos, fiberglass, paints, leads, and things that other chairmen may not be astute to. So I believe that my opportunity of serving and working for the Department of the Navy as a civil servant really has strengthened my ability to lead in that area of that some things that in the area where our citizens may not have a lot of exposure or knowledge about environmental issues. But I feel very comfortable when I have a seat at the table. I've been working directly with EPA from the county perspective as well to ensure that we have an air quality tool app on our website here in Douglas County to allow particularly those who suffer with asthma to challenge and look at the air quality on a daily basis so they can adjust their lifestyle according to the air quality. So I would like to say that experience working for the Department of the Navy has definitely positioned me to lead in terms of environmental issues from the Douglas County. There you go.
And I found the culprit. I found the one to blame for the audio problems, and it was me. It was my speaker feedback. So I'm going to my headphones here, and that fixed it right there. And look who's joined us from Cobb County, Lisa Cupid, Chairwoman Cupid. I'm going to unmute her here. Let's see if I can. Yes, I'm going to unmute. Hey, I may need you to. I need you to mute. Yeah, there we go. Chairwoman Cupid, we've been going back and forth, and I'm telling you the experiences that Chairwoman Hendrickson and Dr. Jackson Jones have had, and we've been talking about just their rich experience and how it's prepared them is incredible. I mean, that I don't know if I don't know how much time you've spent with them. I'm sure you have and studied them, but they are. They've got quite the experience. It's so good to have you join us, Lisa.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here and thankful to be here with my peers, and yes, who I often look up to and glean from their leadership in their respective counties.
Yeah. So,
thank you,
Lisa. We've asked them a couple of questions. I want to hop in and just say, I mean, Dr. Jackson Jones, you've got all those degrees. Lisa has a BS in mechanical engineering, a BA in English, and a law degree. Lisa, that English degree had to be a piece of cake after you went through tech and got to mechanical engineering, huh? I mean, your grades obviously prove that.
Well, you learn, that some skills take one side of the brain and some skills take the other. So yeah, I never know from which one I'm pulling from, but I'm grateful that at least I have both at my disposal.
Lisa, let me ask you, and you and I were together in the ribbon cutting on that EV charger over at the Bishop's Church near Six Flags, but you were an intern for the governor and then a policy analyst. How did learning about the state system prepare you to be a commissioner and now chairman of Cobb County?
And thanks for asking. I mean, counties are subdivisions of the state. And so understanding that relationship is helpful because there are some things that are certainly within our control at the local level. However, there are a lot of things that we're responsible for because there are initiatives at the state level. And I think it's helpful to have that understanding because I just deem our relationship as one of partnership. And it's nice to be able to see how things work together and how we're able to leverage that relationship as we try to get things done here in Cobb.
Yeah, I know that, when you were at GSU, and my wife's a GSU grad as well, but you were involved with coaching grad students, PhD students, law students. And so you've been very, very involved with coaching others. And I think about, how great that must have prepared you for all the coaching that you have to do now. So let me ask you just about the leadership, the oversight, the management of the county and what that's like.
You mentioned coaching, but the coaches I have are the 800,000 constituents of Cobb County. No matter how much you learn or think you lead, I think one thing is always important to be aware of is who we lead on behalf of and who we derive our power from, and that's our citizens. So that's very important. But certainly I can't take anything away from the experiences that I've received by being in law school and getting my MPA at Georgia State, from everything you learn from a substantive nature, but also from a leadership perspective, and working with different peers, and many of them who I see leading out in our communities today. Some of my law school peers are actually sitting on benches today or come before the Board of Commissioners. So I think the relationships that you get, I keep going back to relationships, but I think it goes a long way. But I certainly am grateful for the number of professors and mentors that I've had along the way while in those environments, recognizing that, again, the greatest source of strength and the greatest source of direction I get comes from our citizens every day.
Chairwoman Hendrickson, let me ask you, because you worked in the county so long before you became chairwoman, I guess it gave you a lot of time to build relationships and affinity with people. And I'm assuming that is serving you very well now.
Yes, it has. So I was involved in the community long before my name showed up on a ballot, long before I ever came into this position. So people in this community, the constituents I serve, a great deal of them already knew me. And if they did not know me, they knew my body of work. So they knew the things that I've touched. They knew the things that I've developed and sustained over time and throughout this community. And, when people have an inherent knowledge of their leader, they build that trust. That really goes a long way in their support of you in these leadership positions. You want your community to trust you. You want them to trust that you're going to make the right decisions on behalf of all of the constituents that you serve. And it really means a lot. Now, there are still those that are still beginning to know me and understand my leadership style and who I am as the new chairwoman for the county. And that's going to take some time, and that's okay. I want people to feel free to reach out to me to ask questions. I'm very responsive. I make myself available to constituents when they want to meet with me, when they want to get to know me. I do a lot of speaking engagements like this throughout the community all the time, because I want people to understand who I am, what I stand for, what my policy positions are, and how I'm truly going to serve this county and this community.
Your microphone is.
I'm gonna ask you, Dr. Jackson Jones, about Douglas County. I'm gonna ask each of you about some of the challenges ahead for your individual counties, because each of your three counties has a unique personality. As you think about the west side where you're at along I-20, you've got that interstate going through your community, and we've got 85 going through Chairwoman Hendrickson's community, and 75 going through Chairwoman Cupid's community. So you are unique in that you've got interstates. Not every county commissioner and county chairperson in the state of Georgia has an interstate going through their county. So Dr. Jackson Jones, as you look now forward in this term and where Douglas County is coming out of this pandemic, what are some of the challenges ahead?
Well, thank you again, Tim. Some of our challenges right now, I believe, as we come out of this pandemic, will be related to infrastructure challenges. And that's something that we're definitely working on. We have some major projects under construction right now. We're looking at our Lee Road corridor that's right off the 20 interstate. And then also we have some other opportunities with our Chapel Hill road, which now we're noticing a huge bottleneck of traffic. Certainly, the Douglas County has, we now are no longer on the menu, we're at the table. And not only just in our county, but also the state and the federal level. And so we just want to do the right thing, like we've done in the past, to continue with our platform of transparency. And when I took office in 2016, took office in 2017, the mantra and the mantra today is still, there's no room for second place. So Douglas County, we have moved beyond our teenage years. Our citizens have adopted that methodology and realized that we are growing. We are now, we have always been one of the 10 metro counties, but we were a quiet storm. But today, Douglas County is well awake, and we are ready for any challenge that put before us. And the 20 Interstate is definitely a nice opportunity that I'm looking at, and certainly will be proposing to the state. We would like to have, number one, the 4 lanes is okay, but I can envision 6 lanes in the future. And that would certainly open up this major corridor that comes through our county. So, Tim, thank you for the question, and I hope I responded accordingly.
Yeah, let's move across the perimeter now. Lisa, as you think about, same question to you, challenges for Cobb County moving forward.
Yeah, we're not moving too far away. Douglas County is actually a neighbor. And so, a lot of their concerns or pain points become ours, but a lot of Douglas County's opportunities are our opportunities. And we are fortunate that we do have an I-285 corridor project, which will help to address our interchanges at I-285 and I-20. And that's actually in Fulton, but it impacts the traffic that come into Cobb County and Douglas County. And so I'm grateful for the state helping us in responding to that challenge. But transportation certainly is one of our top priorities to address this year. Our ballot for next year will be a transit referendum, where we'll be looking at how we help to move people through and within our county. And we are seeking to learn from our neighboring counties of how they've been able to have referendums and been able to tackle some of their issues. And so the month of May, this is a heavy month for us to get out in the public, get their feedback on our transportation plan. And we also have several meetings planned with our neighboring leaders in many of our counties and cities, again, to learn about how they've been able to address transit, but also to see where we can partner. A second issue, and I think it was touched upon by another chairwoman, was just growth. Yeah, how do we position our county to ensure that we're providing a top level of service based on the increase of residents that we've had, the increase of interest or desires that our residents have, but also the increased need, which get to the third issue of just dealing with the whole equity piece. The pandemic has certainly shown a bright light where we have inequity across our state and across our county, and certainly even across our nation. So, tackling issues like housing, making sure that we're keeping people safe during this time, and addressing equity in policing across our county is important. But also, even as we talk about our referendum, making sure that all of our projects are touching everywhere so that everybody has, a great opportunity to be able to get to work and to get to opportunities in our county is another challenge that we have, and I should say opportunity that we have before us.
Great. Thank you. And now over to Gwinnett, Chairwoman Hendrickson, the same question to you, challenges for Gwinnett moving forward.
Yes, we do have a major interstate, an I-85 that cuts right through Gwinnett County. In fact, I get a lot of emails that are of people that are angry with me about the HOT lanes and saying that I don't care about the working class because I put HOT lanes in the middle of the interstate, which were there before I was even sworn into office, but I get blamed for those. So I'm going to start forwarding those emails to our GDOT commissioner. But yes, just like Chairwoman Cupid and Dr. Ramona Jackson had mentioned, infrastructure is a big challenge for us all across the metro region because of the growth that we're about to amass in the next 2 decades. And we have to make sure that we continue to provide a strong business climate to attract businesses, but also to be prepared for the residents that are coming in. So housing, we're undergoing a comprehensive housing study right now so that we can understand what the conditions are and help inform us on how to create comprehensive housing policies to address the needs of our workforce. We also have transit challenges, and Chairwoman Cupid and I talk about this a lot. And I know she's about to call a referendum for her county, and I can share some insights on our 3 failed referendums that we've had that are back to back. And got a lot to share on that front. But we're in the process of updating our comprehensive transportation plan. And the new plan is going to take into account what transportation will look like in a post-pandemic world. A lot of businesses and companies, including ourselves, we are operating in these hybrid models, both in person and virtually and telecommuting. And we found that it has worked. So we've had to become very nimble. So the old plan that we presented in a referendum is not going to work today. We have to be mindful of what the future looks like for transportation. And so we're addressing that. That is underway. Economic development. Many of you may be aware that our current administration inherited quite a few economic development projects that were passed down from the previous administration, namely one of them being Gwinnett Place Mall. We just closed on the mall last month, and that is really going to catalyze a lot of growth and opportunity for our county. It's a legacy project. It's not just a project that's going to add ROI for our county, but for the region and for the state. And so it's going to bring jobs. It's going to bring affordable housing. It's going to bring so much economic opportunities to the region that we really want to be very strategic on how we position that mall going forward, as well as all of our other economic development projects that we have, like our Rowan project in the northeast section of our county, which is going to be part of our research triangle, focusing on agriculture, engineering, and science. Also, one of our gateway projects, the old Olympic Tennis Center down in the Stone Mountain area, which we share with DeKalb County, is a part of Stone Mountain. That is going to also be a mixed-use development that's going to attract additional business and opportunities in that corridor of the county. And we also experience a lot of issues as it relates to the growth of our county and the fact that our county is so diverse. It comes with so many diverse needs and challenges, language barriers, homelessness, literacy issues. We are experiencing evictions and foreclosures, which has been exacerbated by the pandemic. And so we're trying to stabilize those issues and then create plans to continue addressing them so that people don't fall farther and farther down the economic ladder. And so we're trying to mitigate that, trying to put programs in place to help sustain our families that are struggling financially, help keep our businesses open. Working with the technical colleges. Businesses are struggling right now to keep employees. How can we work with apprenticeships and try to fast track some of the students in the technical colleges to fill some of these positions to keep businesses open? So we got a lot on our plate. We're working on a lot right now, a lot of initiatives.
Hey, my final question today is, and we're going to give away 3 Cheesecake $50 gift cards to our participants today for joining us. So that'll be fun. And there is, let's see, is there a Cheesecake Factory in your county? Lisa, you got one over there, don't you? I'm sorry.
We have one.
Yeah, I've got you muted. I'm sorry, Lisa, you're muted if you want to pull yourself off.
We do, and I frequent it. So
yeah. What's your favorite cheesecake flavor? Let me ask you this. I'll start with Lisa and go to Nicole and then Dr. Ramona Jackson.
I like plain cheesecake with strawberries on top.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Chairwoman Hendrickson?
My favorite is dulce de leche. It is the caramel cheesecake with whipped cream. Oh my gosh, that's the only thing I will get. I can buy original cheesecake anywhere, but you can't get dulce de leche anywhere. So that's where I go, specifically for my dulce de leche.
Yeah, how about you, Dr. Jackson?
Just New York style cheesecake. I'm pretty plain.
Yeah, I like that salted caramel up there, Chairwoman Hendrickson. So
Oh, yes.
we got that caramel. Just a last question today. As you think about the future, there's a lot to be concerned about, obviously, and we just talked about that. But there's a lot to be optimistic about as well. You know, you think about new leadership, new opportunities, new administrations with a chance to think out of the box, to see things differently. Let me start with you, Chairwoman Hendrickson. What are you optimistic about?
I really am optimistic about the light at the end of the tunnel. I think we're working towards that light, getting back to normalcy. We're working towards getting people vaccinated. We're working to keep people stabilized in their homes. I think we're headed to a very positive and upward trajectory for our community, and we're going to continue to keep that path going. I've always been optimistic and hopeful.
Same question to you, Chairwoman Cupid. What are you optimistic about?
I'm optimistic that Cobb remains open for business throughout this pandemic. We've had 15 this last year. Headquarters that are coming to the county this year, continued growth in our digest. You know, we continue to move forward despite the challenges that we've all experienced over the past year. I'm optimistic that we are still open to serve our constituents. Even though we've been in the midst of a pandemic, we were able to quickly pivot to continue to provide services, some which have been hybrid, going virtually, some which we still were able to do in person while putting safety measures in place. And even though we're bringing employees back, we're fortunate that we're building off the momentum that we built in just quickly pivoting over the last year. And so residents are happy to be back out and using Cobb County services, and our employees are happy to be back as well. I'm also grateful that we're open to the optimistic that we're open to the diversity within our county. Part of my running for office was to make sure that we are an inclusive county, that everyone, irrespective of where you live, regardless of your income, regardless of your demography, that you could thrive here in the county. And I'm happy that people are coming together. We have a business roundtable that started with CEOs to talk about how we help to address issues across the county economically. We've been meeting with a lot of different civic organizations in the county and different leaders of our cities to talk about how we can better work together. And that makes me hopeful.
Yeah, that's all of those are very encouraging. Let me go now to you, Dr. Ramona Jackson. What are you optimistic about as you move forward?
I'm just so, thank you again, Tim. I'm very optimistic that Douglas County has moved from ordinary to extraordinary. We have moved in so many arenas from the economic development standpoint. We have, since I've been in office, we've gone to $4.9 billion in economic development projects. And we have Switch here. Switch is the largest single economic development project in the state of Georgia in its history. So we're really excited about that. Google is here, sitting right here in our backyard. We're excited about that. We have Medline. We have so many projects that are related to economic development that's just unheard of. We are leading the pack for data centers here in the state of Georgia, and that is very promising, not only for Douglas County, but also for the state at large. Housing, again, Douglas County does not have enough housing, and we are working to thrive, and I'm optimistic that the builders now and developers understand that Douglas County is open for business. And so we're beginning to see some movement in that area. So we are beginning to, developers are now peaking at Douglas County. And we do, I foresee some growth in the very near future. Right now, again, this pandemic is the main thing that's before me as the leader of this county. I want to make sure that I'm optimistic that all of us will continue to adhere to those measures that are very important as we come out of this pandemic. The vaccine is just critical right now. So right now, my concentration hat is, because I am, my background is healthcare, I'm concentrating primarily on making sure that every citizen in Douglas County is safe, we make it through this moment so all of us could just smile and say we made it through a pandemic. So it's a lot going on here. I could go on and on and on, but I just wanted to say that it's an honor to sit with my colleagues today and just chat about the various things that are happening in our counties. But we all, I just right now, Tim, I'll be honest with you, I just don't want to take my eye off this pandemic.
And with 40 years in healthcare, you've got the experience too, Dr. Ramona Jackson. Thank you. Special thanks to United Consulting for hosting the call today. The winners of the $50 Cheesecake Factories. The ladies won last time. It looked like, I mean, I'm not picking these. So the guys, it looks like you've done well. Chris Jackson from RSNH, you're a winner. Jeffrey Dayton from HDR, and John Barlow from Gresham Smith. So congratulations to each of you, and United Consulting has your email address, and we'll send those to you. Well, ladies, I serve all 159 counties, so I am at your service, especially if you want to move forward with solar, electric vehicles, green energy. I know a lot of cities and counties are wanting to do 100% clean energy. Please include me in your conversations on that. I'd love to assist you and your constituents in any way that I can from my place here at the Georgia Public Service Commission. So thank you, Lisa, Nicole, Dr. Ramona Jackson, for being here on our call today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Chairwomen.
Bye.